Voy a construir un sistema educativo del que los niños realmente quieran formar parte cada día. La gente será más feliz. El mundo será más seguro porque todos seremos capaces de entendernos mejor. La economía del mundo funcionará mejor porque los empleados entenderán realmente cómo hacer bien sus trabajos. You were a good student?
I was an okay student. I was the kind of student who, one of the reasons I was frustrated in school is that I actually knew I was pretty smart. And I was never the best, or even close to the best. And since school is a contest, right, everybody's trying to be number one and be the best. And I realized that in order to be number one and be the best, I would have to work very hard. And I'm lazy. I didn't want to work very hard.
And how was the experience, so now you are criticizing the system?
Well, I've always found school frustrating because I didn't really enjoy it. I don't know that it was a terrible experience. I didn't have anything bad happen to me. And I think my reactions about education have much less to do with my own education than they have to do with, first off, as a professor for 35 years, students don't seem to come to school to learn. Mm-hmm. They come to get a certificate. They want to have a brand on their name. My real frustration comes from my children, because as a professor, I'm a professor whose specialty was learning, which is what I know about.
There's something positive about our educational system, like grouping children by their age or their knowledge, or?
Well, to the extent that education is about socialization, which is what many people think it is, it might appear that there's value in putting children of the same age in the same room. In fact, it's a terrible thing. Most children come out tortured. Most children will tell you how people are being mean to them. Little girls especially do have ways of torturing each other in school, so that when the kid goes to school, I mean, I saw this with my daughter, when kids go to school, all they're thinking about is who's being nice to them, who's being not nice to them, and what they're upset by, and what cliques are forming, and how these cliques are going against you. A lot of what's going on in school, socialization-wise, is absurd. In real life, 30 children of the same age are never together.
No me acuerdo de lo que cené ayer, pero según Roger Schank es normal. Se ve que memorizar las cosas no es tan natural como hacerlas. Él lo llama aprender haciendo. Roger, what's learning by doing?
The reality is that the way I learn is by trying things and practicing them again and practicing them again and practicing again.
Then memorization doesn't work.
Well, memorization works if you're singing a song. But early on we have children memorize the alphabet song, so that works. Doesn't necessarily teach them the alphabet. Memorization works for multiplication tables, and now I'm finished.
What's Engines for Education?
Engines for Education is a not-for-profit company that I created whose intention is to change the educational system of the world by simply building the alternative and having it be online. And the reason it's online is that way anyone anywhere in the world can take this kind of education as an alternative to their existing high school. High school is full of all these stupid subjects like mathematics and history and geography and literature and economics and physics, and they're all ridiculous. There's no reason to learn any of them. So instead what I have is experiences that I've built. So we just finished building one in health sciences. And that means if you're interested in health sciences, don't take it otherwise. If you're interested, you'd like to become a doctor or a nurse or a practitioner or in the EMT, or you'd like to do something in health sciences, or you just like to learn it for yourself.
What do you think about homeschooling?
I think homeschooling is a really good idea in principle, and it hasn't worked out very well. It's a very interesting movement. I mean, you have over 1 million homeschooled children in the United States. People who have simply said, school is such a terrible thing, I'm not sending my kids to school. So I'm going to teach them at home. I'm with them to that point. But then when they teach them at home, they wind up teaching the same curriculum they would have learned in school because they don't know what else to do, because they also went to school and they also think it's important to learn physics and chemistry and mathematics.
I think you're not very popular between your colleagues.
No, I'm not. So what? You know, the interesting thing is there are more professors who agree with me than you'd think. Many, many professors agree with me. They won't talk out. That's the difference.
Cuando estudiaba tenía problemas con la tabla de multiplicar del 8. 8 por 8, 64. ¿Y esto me hará feliz? What do you think about learning by internet?
Well, the internet is potentially the savior of the world in education, because you could do the right thing, you could have the right kind of school and be on the internet, and suddenly anybody could go to that school. They don't have to physically move. So from an educational point of view, it's a terrific thing. The bad news is it hasn't been used
properly yet. So the internet right now is really become useful mostly, I think, as a newspaper.
Do you think it's useful for kids or for adults too?
I think the internet hasn't been done properly for kids and won't be until people like me start building the right thing. Because what you have now are commercial interests building things for kids. So they have cartoon characters for kids. It's very important. You know, or the kinds of things. It's like they're moving television over to the internet so that kids can watch it. There's no point in it. The real value of the internet is to provide the opportunity to do something on the internet that you couldn't do even at home. So it's not so easy to travel around the world and see things at home, but it is if you create that for the child. So Google Earth is cute, but it's not an educational device. It could be turned into an educational device, but unfortunately the question that Google would have to ask is, will we make money on it? And I don't know the answer to that. I think in the end, the educational opportunities for children will make money, but business interests tend not to really understand the future in important ways.
Maybe Google should talk to you. In conclusion, do you have any advice for parents?
Yes, I have some very important advice for parents. Don't let the schools or the other children raise your children. You are the most important teacher that your child will ever have. You have to do the teaching because the schools aren't going to do it. And you have to understand what to teach.
Thank you, Roger, for the interview.
Well, it was fun.